Very happy Deepavali to all of you. First of all, it's festive time and there's a cricket match going on at the same time. Now, we're all dressed like this for two reasons. Well, actually one reason. There is Zaheer Khan there, but Zaheer is always, Zaheer dresses like you have to look at him. So, happy Diwali, Zaheer.
Happy Diwali to you as well.
Yeah, and the reason we're all dressed like this is that Ajay Jadeja's agitation has finally succeeded.
Yes, yeah. Finally, we are in a kurta,
And finally, you're in Diwali, but not in Delhi.
You
can breathe here.
I'm actually happier being here, to be honest. I didn't think I'd ever say that because I've lived all my life in Delhi and I've enjoyed my city where I've grown up. But at the moment, the air in Delhi is pretty bad. So I've got my son here and I've got a Diwali gift as well because Zach has looked after my son. He's been training with him. So thank you very much for the Diwali gift as well.
Zach is training because he's going to play again. I think when Zach is 75 years old, he'll still be marking out his run.
Zach is back.
Zach is back.
Zach is back always. No, but wishing everyone a very happy Diwali. I think we all love to celebrate Diwali, and the excitement around it is always special. So hopefully today we'll see some special fireworks from the opening batsman as well. So it was in a way good toss to lose and to see India bat first. They have all the opportunity to have those big firecracking start.
I could have asked you, was it big growing up in Srirampur, Ahmednagar, that area? I can't ask Ajay Jadeja that because what do I ask him? Was it big growing up in Jamnagar? Was it big growing up in Kerala? Was it big growing up in Delhi? Was it big growing up in Haryana?
But I guess all our festivals we are blessed in this country, whether it's Diwali, Eid, Bhai Dooj, anything, we all celebrate together. So we're blessed, and I'm blessed to have gone around everywhere. Although Diwali is not in our family, Dussehra is probably a bigger day for the family that I come from. But like for each of us have our special things. But as a country, I think we celebrate all these occasions together. And I've been blessed to have celebrated them all over. But at the moment, Delhi is terrible. I mean, I just wish and pray that, all of us realize that what we are adding to it and whatever little that we can do. What I've done is come here and take all the pollution that I create around there.
Is it true that you was crackers during a game once, around a game, Diwali time?
Well, the team does for sure. I think, that's one of the traditions which team follows, where evening of Diwali we get together as a team, and the good part of being with the team is you get to see different Diwali in different places, so that's one of the advantages of being with the team and traveling, and it's the same with different festivals as well, because when you're representing your country, the choice is not with you that where you're going to be for the big occasions. It's a new tradition also which is started now, that they make sure the Diwali 3 days there are no matches, but earlier that wasn't the case. So in I remember once we were in Delhi, once we were in Mohali for Diwali, the test match was going to be played in a couple of days, and as a team we got together before that evening, burst some firecrackers, the families were over, so it was a nice celebration with followed by dinner.
Okay, let's get down to the game itself now. Toss won by the West Indies, India batting first. We'll have to wait and see how much of an impact Dew will have. Rohit Sharma said it'll probably be the same for both. Now, India have made one change, the West Indies have made one change as well. India have brought back Bhuvneshwar Kumar. How hard is it on Umesh Yadav, or do you just say, look, Umesh, you were in the side because Bhuvi wasn't around, Bhuvi comes back in, you go out?
Well, last match at the toss, Rohit did mention that Bhuvi was part of the 12. Umesh was not even part of the 12, so that was a clear indication that the first 11 Bhuvneshwar was considered, and he was a certainty, and now he's fit and available. So you've made the right change. So in a way, you're kind of not looking at how well Umesh had performed in the previous game. You're going with the fact that Bhuvneshwar, it will be unfair on Bhuvneshwar as well that he was part of that playing 11 in the first match. Unfortunately, couldn't make it in the playing 11. Now he's fit and available, so let's just give him a chance.
Yeah, he had a pretty good IPL actually. Even Umesh Yadav had pretty good IPL. But what about Yuzvendra Chahal? Now, is Chahal not in the side because he's not bowling well, or is he not in the side because none of the other bowlers are batting?
I think a bit of both, because they probably picked wanted an extra batsman, because if you had to probably pick between an all-rounder and a Chahal, just for sheer bowling, you'd probably pick him because he's had a great run. I mean, he, last couple of years, ever since both these young guys came into the side, we've been talking about it. The skills that they bring are totally different from the spinners that were playing in the past. So the numbers have dropped, and he hasn't picked up those number of wickets. So maybe there's a feeling that he's not bowling as well as Indian team would like him to bowl, or he hasn't got the numbers or wickets to show that. And if you are not such a attacking bowler, or you're not picking up wickets, then you need to have a little batting and a little fielding. Because I think what has really dropped, that you can see it, is that fielding. Even within the 2 years that I see him in the Indian side, bowling is very difficult to probably pick, but fielding definitely has dropped. So he's dropped his game at another level. And
so you agree, when we were kids, we were always told you must know a second language. I think modern cricketers today, you must have a second skill to you. If you're a single skill cricketer, then you're struggling. Bumrah, largely single skill cricketer. Khalil Ahmed, largely single skill cricketer. Kuldeep Yadav can hold one end up, but largely single skill cricketer. And so India's balance getting affected a little bit. Now, what about Chahal though? Let's examine that a little bit more. Chahal hardly ever missed matches. The only time Chahal missed matches was when there was a rubber had been decided. There was just a decider to be played. 3-0 ahead in a 5-match series, 3-1 ahead in a 5-match series. So he was only missing games when the series when the series was almost decided. That means when there was something to play, you wanted Chahal in your side.
Yes, and the impact of Chahal and Kuldeep together was immense.
Yes.
It was about 3 to 4 wickets in the middle overs consistently, and that's something which the management has been consciously making effort, because that really changes the tempo of the game in a white ball format, in a ODI format especially, and that's something which has been looked at in terms of giving priority to taking wickets.
Yes.
So if you look at Chahal's number, the economy rate is still decent. Like in the middle overs, if you look at the economy rate of Chahal, it's been good. What has changed is the number of wickets which he has been taking in the
middle overs. Yes.
So that's something which has been addressed in a direct manner, I would say. When you're trying to tell a player that okay, you have to work on these things, you're not getting wickets in the middle overs, you kind of expect that those things change. At times you just have to take the player away from that pressure zone, give him that space, give him that time of making that adjustment, be it physical, because if you're talking about the fielding is fully physical, and your attitude towards fielding. So that's something which must have been addressed. But when it's physical, you need time as well, and when you're playing day in day out, it's not easy to go a level or two up in terms of your physical fitness. So
Ajay,
so that's something which might be the case.
Talk about wickets in the middle overs now. Maybe that's more a reflection of what happens in 50 overs cricket, but that's very visible in 50 overs cricket. We showed the numbers to you during the one days as well, but don't mind putting them up once again for you. The Chahal in one days, but also Chahal in the IPL. Now in the IPL, you're playing what, 14 games, maybe 17 games. If you're a good bowler, you want what, 15, 16 wickets? Around that much?
That's roughly. I mean, 1 wicket per game is the least you expect, and also Chahal has been bowling in the power play as well. So in the power play you don't have that cushion of having fielders on the ring. So he's been doing the tough job. It's just that you have to have that wicket taking ability, which comes where Kuldeep gets that advantage as well, that Kuldeep doesn't bowl in the
power play.
in the power play, and that's something which gives him that liberty to have those fielders on the line, and plus the natural style of Kuldeep is also to flight the ball a bit more than Chahal. If you look at the trajectory of Chahal, you would see that he's someone who likes to bowl quicker through the air and with the flatter trajectory. So that's something you depend on how aggressive the batsman is against you for you to take wickets.
Now let's recall those numbers that we showed you during the one days for Yajwendra Chahal. And the reason we're bringing this up is we're in West Indies, we were in Sri Lanka, everywhere where it was the wrist spinners who were turning matches. Now, from July 2018 to now, we're talking one day international cricket, but that's what's led, I think, to this decision. Is the wickets in the middle overs. Now, Zach makes a valid point that he tends to bowl the difficult overs more than Kuldeep does. Yeah. But is there something you notice in Chahal that India needs to worry about with the World Cup 13 matches away?
I think his form is something if you need to worry about how he is releasing it. I mean, I would, you look at those numbers and yes, you can get an answer what has happened. But going forward, how they're going to change? He's not going to change those numbers sitting out on the bench.
Correct.
He'll have to play, only then those numbers are going to change. So if it's a point that the captain and the coach have seen, then there must be something that the way he's releasing, whether it's bouncing enough, whether he's getting that zip or not, or are they going to use him differently? So it'll depend between Chahal and the captain. I think a relationship between a spinner and a captain is very important, because a bowler, he would tell you more. You could be the greatest bowler in the world, but if your captain doesn't like you, you'll end up looking like
it's
the worst.
It's a peculiar relationship. The batsmen don't rate bowlers' brains,
Yeah.
and bowlers don't rate captains who don't understand bowlers.
It is. So it's just there are times like what happens with batsmen. You're struggling with, say, certain bowler.
Yeah.
So you could be at the other end at that time. You let your partner know. Similarly with the bowlers also, there is a phase that they go through. It's just not coming out of your hand in a certain way. Maybe you want to bowl in a different situation. Whereas Kuldeep at the moment is just tossing them up.
Yeah.
Most batsmen, and we saw Pollard the other day, first full toss, juicy, first ball. But what did he do? Played it along the ground. So the opposition is playing differently to Chahal now than they were playing him, say, about a year ago or 6 months ago. So a lot of changes have happened, but it's mainly, I guess, he's not being able to land it where he wants it at a certain period of time.
My gut feel also is you can't have 8, 9, 10, 11, all of whom don't bat. So maybe that's where first Jadeja came into the one-day game, then Krunal Pandya has now come into the T20 game. But we'll wait and see. My feeling is if India win today, then Chahal will play for Kuldeep Yadav in the last game.
When Jadeja came in, he came in because of Hardik Pandya got injured. Nothing to do with this all-rounder.
He came in because Aksar got injured.
No, that into the side.
Into the side.
But in the 11
Okay.
was because Hardik isn't playing. So he's playing in his position.
Yeah.
Who's playing in place of Chahal is actually our left-arm seamer. Khalil. So it's not that we were playing with two seamers, two spinners for the last full year, and one all-rounder who was either Hardik was playing and no Ravindra. So it's a different call that we made. We've left out a pure spin bowler and we've added an all-rounder in place of him. I look at it that
because
way. And you've gone to another seamer. You've added,
correct.
And maybe because of the Bhuvneshwar's injury.
Fair enough.
So this is where the batting has been discussed. This is where that batting point comes in. So if you had someone who is able to bat, like between three, Khalil, Bumrah or Chahal for that matter, then one Chahal would have got the point.
No, his point is valid.
Who bats better than Khalil or Umesh Yadav? Sorry, Chahal.
I guess it doesn't matter.
So
but your point
Chahal,
is valid.
I'll say Chahal.
So I feel that it's the seamer, because what has happened is you were playing Umesh, you weren't sure about him in these limited overs. Bhuvneshwar has not been as fit in the last few months. So maybe you wanted to support that fast bowling attack a little more, and you took the spinner out and brought in an all-rounder and said, "Chalo, let's adjust."
No, but your point is valid that there was a seamer who batted, and therefore you were playing two spinners.
Could be.
Now the seamer who bats is gone, so you need a spinner who bats, and so one of the fast bowlers has to go out. So there you are. It's always like that in the T20 game. Now what about the batting itself? There is an enigma in the Indian batting lineup. All of us, in fact, almost anybody who has seen him bat is a fan of KL Rahul, the batsman, because we saw him in the IPL, we see him, and it's just there to see that this man can bat. And yet, it's been an extended run, both in Test cricket. Now we're seeing in limited overs cricket as well as an extended run. Could it be that the pressure is starting to tell on him a little bit, that he's a freedom player and the pressure is getting to him?
It could be. One of the observations, if you see, just again going back, I keep looking at what they've been doing, because we may think whatever we think. KL Rahul, as you said, all of us feel he's one of the finest players. He's neither a certainty in 2020, neither a certainty in one-day cricket, and neither a certainty at Test cricket at this stage. And he's been around for 3-4 years. So what that tells me is that there must be something playing on his mind all the time. Because how can it be that you are part of that team for 3 years, 2 years, started with 100 in second Test match, scored many runs along the way, and still you're not sure where you're going to be. So there is a little confusion out there.
Because when he was going, he had 750 plus scores or 850 plus scores in 10 innings. He got hundreds. But look at his numbers in T20 cricket. In the IPL, of course, he was setting stadiums alight wherever he went. But if you look at the combination of strike rate and average, there used to be a time when you said if that was 160, you were doing well. Then they said if it was 170, you were doing well. Rahul is nudging 200. He's the only Indian around there who's nudging 200 in T20 internationals. He should actually, by those numbers, he should be walking into the side. He should be the first pick by those numbers.
He should be.
Well, in T20s, he is, I think, the first pick.
But what happens today? Virat comes in.
So what has been happening is it's like it's very important at the international level that you get a run which is the extended run in all the formats. You know, that really changes things. It's like having a bowling fitness. Similarly with batting, that rhythm, you know, that you are in the zone, you are going to the ground and you are playing matches. That's not been the case with KL Rahul. You know, he's scored he's played in England consistently. After that, Asia Cup, he
got one game in the Asia Cup.
He's played one or two games.
Game and didn't play any of
the ODIs.
Then after
that, the Test series, he was part of the team.
Yes.
He's been part of the team. So as a batsman, you're going out there to the ground, but you're not able to play the match. And that's something, you know, has various components to it. So we need not get into all that. But the fact is that he's not been able to get that rhythm going of a batsman who is just flourishing at the international level. So when you look at the numbers, they'll always tell you a story because he's been playing consistently at the T20 level. But that same is not the case with the ODIs or the Test matches.
Did you know of players who, when there was maybe relatively less pressure, just freedom, expressed themselves, as we say, and just played magnificently, and then suddenly if there was a little run of poor form, just worried themselves to death? I'm not saying that's the case with Rahul, but just under pressure seemed to be not the same players?
I think mostly players who are very serious, you know, the serious kinds.
Yeah.
You know, they take things seriously, so they probably, each time they're left out or they make a mistake, they think too much.
Is it a South trait? Lakshman was like that, Rahul was like that, KL Rahul is like that. Is that?
I don't see Rahul like that. I mean, it shouldn't be the case because, you know, he's been, you look at his hundreds as well, you know, they've actually come at a time where he's not been playing consistently. So I don't think there is a relation in terms of just the pressure getting to him or anything of that sort. I think the key is that long run, you know, and the long run he's not also getting in the ODIs as well because you have a very solid proven number 3 which is Virat Kohli at that. So he has to wait, you know, he has to wait his time, and that's something, you know, which KL Rahul at the moment is going through, or grab the opportunities with both hands. Every time he gets an opportunity, he has to make sure that when he gets that opening slot, which might be the case, you're looking at the way Shikhar has been batting in the ODI and the T20s so far, and looking at how the Indian team has been going on in terms of selection, in terms of how they've been picking up the teams and stuff like that, there will be some opportunity somewhere down the line where he can grab it and just extend that run.
Maybe today he gets a game today. What about the West Indies? They've made one change. They were terrible. It's been a mixed tour for them. They didn't get into the fourth day in the Test matches, and then suddenly they played well in the first 3 games. They should have won the first 2, and then they just fallen down a cliff. The 2 one-dayers and the first T20. Now, what are they doing today? They've left out Rovman Powell, and they've brought in Nicholas Puran, who I first saw play an absolutely outrageous innings at the Under-19 World Cup, but it just seemed just playing at a level too high for him at the Under-19 World Cup, and he would just go and play all his shots. But in the CPL, he opens the batting, he gets runs, so he can bat anywhere, can also keep wickets. I've noticed a lot of batsmen are trying to keep wickets these days, so there's 3 of those in the West Indies and 3 of those in India. The other thing that could impact the game today is it's a new ground. A lot of these new stadiums that are coming up in India are outstanding. Whether they are in Dharamshala, whether Ranchi, whether it's Vishakhapatnam, if it is Thiruvananthapuram, this looks pretty good too. It's now going to be called the Atal Bihari Vajpayee Stadium. Big boundaries. That is the first thing. That's what we were told. Big boundaries, but a lot of grass and cracks both on the pitch.
Yeah, it was interesting because generally in this area with the Ganga belt, you see this dark soil. You heard Rohit Sharma talk about it. The cracks are generally smaller, whether you see Calcutta, whether you see Delhi. What I saw on television today was, you know, there was these cracks were like big cracks, almost like Waka. Yeah. So it was distance between them, but they were huge cracks, totally unlike pitches that you have in this belt. So maybe it's a different soil, like you said, the stadiums have changed. You know, there's new technology brought in, so I don't know what soil it is in. It's ये बंद लिफाफा है कि खुलेगा तो देखेंगे क्या होता है.
And you're batting first. Sometimes in situations like this, you just want to bowl first and see how
it's
playing.
If the cracks open up and there's no dew factor, then the spinners will be happy. I think Kuldeep will be very happy to see. So that's something. The grass on the wicket is another reason because of the cracks. You know, when you have a lot of cracks, the groundsmen usually like to keep a lot of grass on the wicket so that it holds the wicket together. So that's something, you know, which we've seen it in the past. the talk has been the wicket is nice and firm with grass, and looking at the last match and the way O'Shane Thomas was bowling, he will be happy to see this kind of grass on the wicket. And if it's playing nicely and with a true bounce, and Shikhar and Rohit gets in, then there will be another Diwali celebration which we'll see on the cricket
big
ground.
Big game for Shikhar as well. I mean, there's been a lot in the papers about Shikhar, not all of it very nice, saying how he was not happy at Sunrisers. Then they very reluctantly, he was a reluctant player. They've let him go. They've talked about the fact he wasn't happy with the money. You don't want all these things coming out, but more than anything else, he wants a big score now.
Yeah, he needs one big score. He's got a few starts in the one days. He had 20s and 30s and missed out, ball going straight. It's not that he's looked out of form. Yes, last game he was totally beaten by Thomas. That's a total different delivery. But otherwise he's looked okay. But at the end of the day, you need to get scores. If you don't get a big score, you've got KL Rahul. We're just talking about him, where everybody feels he's best at the top of the innings. At least I feel he should be opening the innings. So there must be a little pressure. And with Virat Kohli not there, when he comes back, one person has to go. One person will have to make that way. So it's these two games that decides, who's going to make that way when you get to Australia.
Also, I wonder if he's in a happy state. He's been left out of the test side now, so he's thinking, is the rest of my life going to be as a white ball player?
Yeah.
So
there is a lot of pressure. And once you're left out, you're forgotten. Look at Ravichandran Ashwin is a great example. I mean, he's one of your finest players that India's had.
Got a lot of overs in for Tamil Nadu in the Ranji Trophy. But I see what you're saying.
Once you get into that Ranji Trophy circle, it's tough. The greatest players also struggle when they go out there. So I hope he doesn't have to spend.
He won't know. He only played for India.
Yeah. No, and especially
I've had my share of first class,
I know.
which I've used to implement Zach is back.
Okay, there you go.
He was blessed when he had to come back. I was batting at the other end. So it was very easy. But domestic cricket gets very tough. Get Kuldeep Yadav, go to the numbers, look at his numbers at domestic. He won't have the same numbers at international cricket.
Okay.
So Shikhar would want to get a big score today.
Okay, so there we are. The news is game in Lucknow. The last time an international was played there was back in 1994 when India won that test match against Sri Lanka at the KD Singh Babu Stadium. So we're all very keen to see how it will play. The West Indies have won the toss. They're fielding. India have made one change. And in that Bhuvneshwar comes back and Umesh Yadav goes out. Nicholas Pooran comes in. And Rovman Powell goes out. We've got just one thing left to do now. And all you guys who wait for this to go and hit the answer very quickly on your keyboards. Here's a joy factor coming up. And let's see what Mr. Bhattacharya has got for you today. In ODI cricket, what is the highest ODI score which 3 Indians have hit but no other country's cricketer has managed? Meaning, it could be 163, it could be 175. There's a particular score that 3 Indians have hit, but it's a score that no other country's cricketer has managed. I've enjoyed this question because all you guys who Google answers, you're going to have a long day today. So that's it. Remember to send in your replies at Cricbuzz on Twitter, #CricBuzzLive. And then, of course, we'll come to you after over number 10 for Uber Presents Cricbuzz Combox. We don't know what's a good score. I was going to ask you, producers telling me, ask them what a good score is. We don't know what a good score is.
Uber presents Cricbuzz Combox.
Box at over number 10
yes,
we'll
we
tell
will
you.
predict what's going to happen.
Now, the reason he's telling me is a lot of people watching this saying, you know what, Zach said that's a good score. You know what Ajay said, 170, whatever. So he just gives them a peg to watch it by.
No, a good score in one day is nothing less than 170.
Correct.
No matter what kind of wicket. What we saw in Calcutta was...
in T20 cricket.
Had nothing to do with the wicket. So, it wasn't about the wicket. It was just that West Indies had a bad day and then India followed it up with West Indies having an excellent day with their bowling. But 170 is a score that...
We'll wait and see.
Yeah, you got to look for that.
We'll wait and see. I absolutely fell in love with O'Shane Thomas bowling. So, O'Shane Thomas and the might of the Indian batting. Let's see what happens. We'll come back to you after over number 10.